All right. I think it's working. Actually, it's not working. Hold on. Now it's working. Now we're cooking. All right. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to go through, we're trying to catch up on a lot of these tournaments, right? And we're trying to cast and we're doing multiple matches at a time. Tonight, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at as many casts as I can for Brood War number 4, which is the fourth Brood War tournament that we've hosted in StarCraft Underground. And so it's not complete yet. And so we're still waiting on a few matches, but I was thinking we can go ahead and just get ahead and start knocking them out. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here we go. So we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to start with, I'm not going to do all the matches, but I'm going to do some of the matches where I think the skill level wasn't, too crazy. Like the differences weren't too crazy. And so we're going to go to this first map, and it's going to be Navain versus Mevius on Dominator. So let's get into it. And this is the loser bracket round 1, right? So at this point in the tournament where this is being set or taking place, both of these players have lost their first match and have been knocked down to the lower bracket to face off against each other. And in a double elimination bracket, one of these players is going to be eliminated from the tournament if they lose this round. So right now, we do have Mevius, our orange Protoss, over here at the 3 o'clock, and Navain is also Protoss. He's this kind of teal color. Let's go and change those. We got red Protoss up here at the 11, blue Protoss over here at the 3. And this is Dominator. So Dominator, as we go through these matches and as we go through each of them in the same tournament, the tournament bracket maps are predetermined. They mix up in every tournament, and this one we're probably going to see Dominator a lot. It's the first map in each of these best of 3 series that we're going to be seeing. All right, so with Dominator, Dominator is an interesting map in the sense that it's a 3-player map, and you have kind of these low ground mains with a lot of like open dead space, and then you go up into a natural with a solid choke and a mineral only base as kind of the natural third that you can take. So that's kind of the overall gist of Dominator. And you can see right now, Mevius is already sending a probe, a pretty early probe, out to the like 8 o'clock position, 7 o'clock position, whatever you want to call this, to see if there is a, where Navain is. Now he's not going to find anything, so he's going to know Navain is up here at the 11 o'clock position. And Navain dropping an immediate 2 gateways as his opener to the single gateway that has been warped in from Mevius. So a little bit more of an aggressive open from Navain. And I don't know if this is something he generally does, or if because it's a 3-player map, and so as he comes over here to scout, he's going to immediately confirm or deny where Mevius has spawned, right? He's either there or he's at the other one. And then he can just start pumping from both of those gateways and just overwhelm with zealots. He already has 2 on the way. Mevius is going to see this, so Mevius pokes in, gets eyes on both of these gateways, immediately runs the probe away, knowing that these zealots are about to pop out, and has his own zealot chasing around the probe in his base. His second gateway is going down now, but it's going to take a while to get up, so he is going to be at a numbers disadvantage if these zealots start pushing across as he gets a couple of them. Cybernetics core being built for Navain. And now he's starting his gas. So Mevius has had his gas up for a while. You can already see he's kind of banking a little bit of it. But after seeing the double gateway opener from Navain, I think he changed his plan from going with that Cybernetics core and instead opting for that second gateway. So he's going to have a little bit of extra gas kind of pooling up here as his Cybernetics core goes down. So the 3 zealots that have been built are making their way across the map. And this probe is actually still staying alive. So this is an opportunity where you can use the probe to kind of get the zealots out of position and just have the extra DPS of the probe there once the zealots start fighting. So this zealot approaching his, Mevius's natural is going to see these 3 other zealots coming in. And the 3 zealots are going to get into the mineral line. So right now we see the probes mineral drilling away. A couple of these probes are going to go down. There's at least one. A couple of Mevius's zealots kind of hidden amongst these probes. A whole lot of just Protoss craziness going on here. And these probes and zealots are going to end up cleaning up Navane's initial push here. But not after, or I mean, not before Navane knocks out a good amount of probes. So right now we do have a probe disparity of 17 for Navane, and Mevius sitting at 13. And that was 100% due to kind of that aggressive opener. So right now, Navane's got 5. I'm sorry, Mevius has 5 zealots, and they're probably about to head straight over to Navane's base. And Navane's only got 2, but he does have Dragoons on the way. So he's going to be popping out Dragoons here 2 at a time. He's getting his pylon started here at the natural. And it does look like he's saving up a little bit to start getting that Nexus down. Meanwhile, back at Mevius's base, all economy is going towards Dragoon production. And right here, we're going to have a small skirmish here in the middle. It looks like Mevius is just trying to run away. He's probably going to lose, I would guess, at least, just one of these zealots. But maybe he'll get all the way back without losing it at all. But it is going to be very bruised and battered. Yeah, he'll be safe. He's going to get back up here, and then now he's got the number superiority. And he's going to dive onto Navane's army. I don't know if Navane was paying attention at that moment, since he had that superior force just chasing a couple of zealots. And so Mevius was able to get a really good jump on Navane's army there. Getting a few free kills. So Navane has not started his expansion, as I expected that he would, but instead he's throwing down a shield battery, another pylon, kind of getting this nice natural wall to really confuse and frustrate, zealot movement in the area, and the Dragoons will be able to shoot over that in defense. Really pretty formation he's got here, nice Dragoon line, but Mevius does start his second Nexus. And Mevius is still behind in probes, too. So this is kind of the opportunity for Mevius to consolidate his army, get the second Nexus up before Navane, and start pumping out probes 2 at a time, get that economy rolling. Now, Navane has started Dragoon range. And so in this mirror matchup, right, the Dragoon that can shoot farther is going to do better than the Dragoon that can't. So that's going to give his army a nice little power spike here as that upgrade just now finishes. Also, I noticed the StarCraft Underground logo is all wonky because I was doing StarCraft 2. So in between matches, I'll go over there and kind of move it. Okay, we've got a group of 8 Dragoons to the 5 from Mevius. I think with the Zealots, though, like this is probably a superior force, especially with a 6 Dragoon coming up. Now he just picks off 1 Zealot. And he's doing a really good job of just kiting back and forth here. Gets another one. Hasn't lost a single Dragoon. We just have one whose basically shields was just knocked down. That's about it. So Navane getting a couple picks there where every single unit makes a huge difference. 2 more Dragoons on the way. And finally the Nexus for Navane is going down. He's also starting Observers as well, which is helpful to note. Okay, now Mevius needs to protect this. This is a pretty nerve-wracking timing in the sense that Navane still has that range on the Dragoons for Mevius, and now he's populated his natural with all these probes. Mevius is still trying to get his economy up on par with Navane's. If Navane was able to come in here and knock out more probes while getting his second base up, that would be kind of a feel-bad and an opportunity for Navane to really continue his advantage in this game. Alright, does look like Navane's going to poke in here, try to get some shots off. These Zealots doing a good job of making sure that the Dragoons are, playing honest. And now there's just pure Dragoon superiority. Now, Mevius's Range did upgrade. He does have the defender's advantage. He's going to be getting resupplied with units much quicker. But Navain still has a pretty sizable force here that needs to be respected. More Dragoons sitting at home. The second finally up for Navain. Additional gateways as well. Gateway count now up to 3 for both players. Observer about to come out for Mevius. Now I think Navain probably did see the support bay go down, which is one deviation in these builds. I don't think Navain has a support bay at this time. So Dragoons staring at each other ominously. Mevius slowly closing the gap on the probe count. And yeah, both players are just sitting here Dragooning up. Oh, that was really unfortunate for Mevius. Really just dives his observer right in there. Whole grip of Dragoons coming down. I mean, how many are we at? We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Plus 5 is 16. 4, 8, 12, 14, 15. Yeah, both players really mirroring each other when it comes to the Dragoon numbers. Just enormous stalemate right here. Now, I think, you know, what we're about to see is up here, we do have the Citadel of Adun being constructed, an additional gateway for Navain. I imagine he's going to try to probably start getting some Zealots in the mix. Probably get some Zealot legs. And that will help with getting up in the Dragoons' faces, eating some of those shots, so that the rest can continue the fight. So right here we do have a little bit of a skirmish. I'd be surprised if Navain stays here. But he does just get an influx of Dragoons, and he is having really good engages. Mevius's Dragoons are doing a little bit of walking around dancing instead of shooting. And so I think he lost a little bit more than he probably needed to at that moment. Now, one thing I want to point out is we do have Reavers coming out onto the play. So we have one crawling his, you know, giant body up here, and then another one being constructed. So we'll see if these Scarab shots can really kind of change the tide of this battle. Now, Navain's also seeing this, though. So it's not going to be kind of like an ambush or a surprise. He's aware of everything that's going on in this base, and he's about to start his third. So right now the contain has been pretty effective. And Navain, I think, continues to hold a bit of an advantage in this match. So we do have Zealot legs being researched. Templar archives being constructed. Mevius is getting his Citadel as well, much later than Navain. So Navain, once he does start kind of transitioning to increasing the Zealot count, he's going to have kind of that power spike in Zealot speed for quite a while. Additional gateways going down. We are going up to 6 gateways for Navain. And really, this third base is going to be a huge boon as well to his economy. Now, Navain doing his due diligence, checking the other bases, making sure that there wasn't a probe that snuck out. Ooh, and we have a first Scarab shot. Knocks out the shields of a few of these Dragoons, doing just a tad bit of damage to the front one. And instead of Reavers for Mevius, what he's approaching is Storm. Right, so like that upgrade will be done here momentarily, and these Scarabs doing great work. Both players just trying to find the best way to break this stalemate, this enormous Dragoon on Dragoon face-off. And we're seeing 2 different styles kind of approach. We have the Reavers, and then we have the Storm and the Zealot production for Navain. Mevius adding another gateway. He is behind on gateway count. Right now we've got 7 up here for Navain. I think I'm getting these names mixed up. Mevius is blue, Navain is red. Okay, a couple units. You know, I think that was. I don't think that was intentional. It might have been intentional, just to soak up a few shots. Hey, Mevius, my man. Thanks for following. We're watching you. We're watching you kill Dragoons with your Dragoons. I had to stop playing. Yeah. The logo makes me look like I have horns. It's also off center because it's set for StarCraft 2 that we did yesterday. All right, so Mevius is definitely succeeding in this engagement. Now, Navane has a whole Congo line of reinforcements coming in, and these storms are gigantic. Holy cow! And great morph into an Archon there is going to increase the survivability of those Templar that expended their energy, and now I mean, it didn't survive, but it just tanked so many shots. So the Reavers survive, which I think was a really big deal here. And Mevius has successfully pushed Navane away from his base. Now, I would say that Mevius needs to find some way to get some damage done on the infrastructure of Navane, or needs to expand rapidly. And I think he's going for the damage route, right? So he's loaded up his Reavers into the shuttle and is likely going to be trying to find one of these exterior bases to drop and get some economic damage. He's also continuing Reaver production, so this isn't going to be just a one and done. He definitely wants to keep bolstering these numbers as he expends them on the field. So here we go, another small skirmish here. I expect some big storms to come down. No storms were fired off in that moment. Navane opts to just kind of retreat back, consolidate his forces. He was a bit spread out there. And you can see now he's got a lot more of the Zealots in the mix. So not just pure Dragoon force. Now, with the early observer being shot down, Mevius's observer being shot down, I don't think he's actually aware of this third base up here. Storms are going down and doing a ton of damage, pushing away Mevius's force. Okay, so now Mevius is aware of this third. The cannon is getting some shots off on this shuttle, but the Reavers are going to be able to get out, and they're going to be able to kill a good number of probes here. Boom. That was huge. Oh my gosh. Okay. Just absolutely clearing this mineral line. And all of these Dragoons are kind of funneling up, but Mevius sees that the army is now coming after those Reavers, picks them up, and runs away. What the heck is going on here? Oh, that's blue. Okay, I thought Navane was like building something there at the all-mineral base. Okay, so Mevius is branching out, getting his third base here at the all-mineral location. Which is much easier, well, I don't know if easier to defend, but it's much closer for reinforcements to defend. But, you know, the big downside here is that he is going to be behind when it comes to gas. But Mevius does have a lot of gas banked up, so not an issue at this point in the game. Zoom out a little bit. Alright, the opening volleys have started for this battle. The Reaver is getting stormed down, specifically targeted by Navane. But the Scarabs are still going in there and doing a good amount of damage. This Reaver is just running around. What's it doing? Oh, man. Definitely could have probably gotten another Scarab or two off. These Storms have hit pretty good clumps of units, and right now Navane is taking this fight. And this is dangerous and a little bit scary because this third base just got dropped down. And these probes just showed up over here, and I think he's going to end up losing a lot of probes before he can clean this up. If he can. Really, the only army that we're seeing right now is 2 Dragoons and a Reaver that's about to die. Reaver goes down, 2 Dragoons on the low ground against this whole force from Navane, and there's not much for reinforcements. There's a few Zealots back here defending the natural, and more Dragoons being brought to the front. Now, Navane's not pushing too hard right now. Okay, so he does come back. He is going to push this base. I do believe that this Nexus is going to fall. And you know what? Navane says, forget this Nexus. I'm going to push forward. Okay, no, never mind. He is still going to target the Nexus. I thought maybe he was going to make a push for the natural. But he's going to kind of split. So he's leaving a few units back to knock out the Nexus, and he is continuing his advantage here. He's got a lot of observers here. This is definitely a rally point. Oh, the Dark Templar! I love this. Now, unfortunately, there is 3 observers here. And those Dark Templar are just going to get stormed to oblivion. Very cool move. But unfortunately, I mean, Navane was just overly prepared for that, I think by accident, with just having all those observers rally to this location. Another nice morph into an Archon is soaking up a ton of these Dragoon shots. Bringing some probes into the mix as well. Yeah, right now Navain's looking pretty dominant in this first round. Now, an attempted third base going down here. Navain sniffed it out, though, and immediately came over here to knock it down, and it does get canceled. Okay, good. That was very close to just last minute. And this has been a complete brawl. But right now we're running into a situation where Mevius is running out of cash, right? He's going to have a very, very oversaturated natural, and that's going to be up against Navain's 3 bases and a 4th just now starting. So I don't even know what the right move is here. Mevius getting some Archons of his own, coming in here, doing a lot of damage to these Zealots, but these Storms, oh my goodness, doing so much. The High Templar brings so much value to Navain's force. Now, Mevius is pushing this back. He is sitting with an upgrade advantage. So his Dragoons are 1-1, and it really kind of shows against these 0-0 Dragoons. But unfortunately, yeah, he just got a little bit outproduced that map, or that round, and was contained for a little bit long. So that is GG, and that is going to bring us to round 2. So right now, Navain is up in this series 1-0. We are in the first... Yeah, the first loser bracket round. So this is technically the second round of the Brood War number 4 tournament in StarCraft Underground. All right. Let's go to... You can see my lazy folder naming convention. I was doing, you know, like game 1, game 2, game 3. And I always make the folders. Oh, hold on. Let me fix this picture. There we go. The picture should be fixed now, I think. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyway, yeah, we're going to go over to Deja Vu for map number 2. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, yeah, I was talking about folder naming conventions. Yeah, it was just becoming really annoying. Like, grabbing all the replays and naming, like, game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4, and, like, rearranging the files all the time. So now I'm just... basically making a folder called 1 and just control pasting it. So the copies will be the subsequent rounds. Alright, cool. StarCraft Underground logo is properly placed this time. Alright, Navain. Still red Protoss, this time up in the top right. We've got Mevius, the blue Protoss, in the bottom left. Mevius being down 0-1 in this series. It is a best of 3, and we are on Deja Vu, which is a 4-player map. Really the biggest thing to note about Deja Vu is these eggs on the ramp, which are always annoying, especially for Dragoons. Pretty tight choke for the matchups that it matters with, like, wall-offs and stuff. We have a bridge to the third base, which is a little far away, and it's also this elevated middle ground, which is kind of like we were seeing last game where the contain was kind of happening really close to the natural. A lot of times you'll see a lot of armies kind of just park up here on this high ground, and a lot of battles take place kind of in front of the natural edge right here, this corridor on all the sides. So like right here. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and kill the map. And let's go ahead and watch Navain scout. We can watch Mevius scout too. This is a cross-position scout. I doubt that either of these players are going to go straight to a cross spawn. It looks like these probes are going to probably run into each other, shake hands, and know where the other player is just by the timing and the direction, right? So both these players run into each other, and you can see Mevius, he's like, okay, I got it. You're up here. Navain allows his probe to kind of run down here to the bottom right while he's doing macro stuff at home. This time, instead of a double gateway opening, he is opening with kind of just the normal cybernetics core and gas early on, instead of rushing for kind of that early zealot pressure that we saw last time. Same is being made for Mevius. Right now, everything's just kind of mirrored up. Mevius is first to start a Dragoon in production. They'll be out just a little bit early. Completely skipping Zealots for both players. And that should, you know, shorten the time frame that this probe is dancing around here. Both players are starting Dragoon range at about the same time, so we're not gonna have that kind of Dragoon power disparity based on range that we saw last game. Last game was this game appears to be playing much differently than the one before it. Yeah, this probe's not long for this world. Boom. Good job, probe. Scouted well. I completely missed it. I didn't even see Navane make a Zealot. I thought he went straight to Dragoons. But apparently he did make one. And the Dragoon and the Zealot are going to chase down this probe. Is it going to actually slip away? Huh, it does. We'll see if this Dragoon ends up chasing it all the way down. Alright, Navane is starting a robo facility. So is Mevius. Mevius definitely looking to not want to be the one that's contained early on by a bunch of Dragoons. Sends a couple over. I don't think he's going to poke in too far. I mean, he already knew that there was at least 2 Dragoons already here and a Zealot from his probe. But he might, you know, just kind of stay out here and keep an eye and make sure that this Nexus isn't down. Yeah, that's pretty much as far as he goes. He pokes in, sees that the expansion hasn't been taken, which kind of lets him know that he's probably on about parity when it comes to economy and about army strength. Third Dragoon is moving up here to this high ground we talked about a little bit before, right? Very common kind of area to try to hold. We're gonna have a little skirmish here. Right now, Navane is outnumbering with the Zealot, and to get that first volley off. And so that's gonna send Mevius running back. Doesn't look like he's gonna try to reinforce in the middle or en route here of like the middle of the map. And it does look like Navane is kind of rallying additional reinforcements to potentially put another contain here on Mevius. Now Mevius is starting the Robo support bay. So probably going to see Reavers again. Ooh, good pick by Mevius there. Knocking out that Dragoon from the high ground. We've got 3 gateways just pumping Dragoons for Navane. 3 down for Mevius as well. Mevius getting his pylon line kind of set up so he can start populating this area with additional gateways. It does look like Mevius is going to be, you know, I don't know. Is he going to expand? I guess not. The first Reaver is in production. I think we just had a couple of like ships pass by in the night. So this will be really interesting. And I don't think Mevius is going to be taking a route where he's going to catch any reinforcements. But both players are going to have an opportunity to basically just charge each other without any defenses established. Looks like Mevius has sent a probe down here to the natural to prepare for an expansion. And Navane gets an observer in the base. So Navane, now aware that there's a whole ton of Dragoons dancing around his natural, is going to be bringing his force back as opposed to pushing forward into, you know, kind of a base trade situation or a fight on 2 fronts. And so he does have an observer following around these Dragoons. He knows exactly where they're at. He knows that he's a little outnumbered, but he got the jump on him. He's going to pick one off right off the bat, sending more Dragoons from his main. Navane has a pretty good jump here on Mevius's force. And Mevius is going to be able to get away, right? So he lost a couple Dragoons there, which is really unfortunate. But he's got the reinforcements. He's heading back here to his natural, and he's about to have his shuttle come out to pick up this Reaver. Now, Navane has seen all of this. Again, Navane's been doing a good job both last game and this game of observer production and placement. So it's not going to be much of a surprise. He might even try to set up some Dragoons in a spot where it might intercept this shuttle. Nah, I guess not. I guess the Reaver will likely just get used here. Okay, so Nevane is getting his expansion at the natural. An observer's popping out for Mevius. And so that observer's probably going to come up here. And then we're going to see this observer get shot down. Boom. Okay, now I wonder if that's going to trigger any type of movement with this shuttle. As he may think that it's no longer being watched. Okay, starting his second base at the natural, just a little bit behind Nevane on that aspect. And the Reaver is out. So the observer moves forward, but again, Nevane has an observer here. Gets it shot down, so he's not going to get any like additional range with his Reaver. Ooh, that Scarab does draw in a few Dragoons. Couple takes some damage. But overall, nothing too catastrophic here for Nevane. But Nevane is going to back up a little bit, get a little bit more breathing space, so no more surprise Scarabs come and blow up in his face. Going up to 5 gateways for Nevane. Citadel being constructed. Still at 3 gateways here for Mevius. Mevius does have a slight supply lead and probe lead. But he is kind of stuck here. He is kind of stuck here, and that's okay. He still has time. He needs to, you know, saturate this base. Slowly move forward. And here comes a shuttle as well. So if he can get this shuttle in, now there's no cannons or anything. A pylon did just go down up here in this corner, and I imagine it might be for some future cannons or maybe just some early warning. It is going to get just a little bit of early warning, but there's nothing here, right? Even the Dragoons are still being rallied forward. And this Reaver should get some good amount of damage. Oh my gosh, that was huge. Oh, Mevius with the Reavers. Okay, those were some good Reaver shots. Now leading by 11 probes is no joke, but it does get just sniped out of the sky. So the Dragoons there were anticipating the transition to the natural. Another Reaver here at the natural for Mevius. No additional shuttles in production as of yet. And now Nevane might try to take this moment where he knows that he's behind economically, but likely ahead militarily, and try to push this advantage. Try to get some more damage of his own. So we do have the skirmish opening up. This Reaver's not getting any shots off in the moment. Be nice if it could. Does look like Mevius might have this fight. Right now, again, all these Dragoons, they basically have range, but no additional upgrades. Okay, we finally do get a Scarab off. It does kill a Dragoon. And right now, Nevane's Dragoon force has basically just been reset. Just set to the Stone Age. He doesn't have much left. He's got 7 Dragoons, 2 Zealots here in the middle of the field. Now, this Observer is watching this enormous force from Mevius approach his natural. And this Reaver will get there eventually. It's so stupid how slow they are. I mean, it's good, though. Because if there was fast Reavers, this game would be... Protoss would be even more ridiculous. Okay, now we're doing kind of the seesaw, right? Defender's advantage kind of kicked in. Nevane was able to get additional forces to the middle. And Mevius is heading back home. But I think overall, that was a happy last couple of minutes for Mevius as he was able to get in there and just do so much damage to those probes. Reavers are dumb. But they move slow. That's their downside. That's why they made shuttles. So we'll see if he ends up doing another drop. I don't think he will right now. I think that this engagement's about to kick off. And these Reavers are going to be reserved to start taking, you know, Scarab shots at this. So Nevane with the high ground here. Reaver's trying to inch up to get some of those early Scarab shots. Do need to be careful not to lose them. The shuttle is here for the hot pickups. Does pick them up. And then we chill. Okay, so we have upgrades starting for Mevius. This was a big deal in the last game, but Mevius was already a little bit behind, so it didn't really help a whole lot, just based on kind of the direction of that game. But right now, where I think that everything is pretty even at this point, these upgrades are going to be a huge power spike once they're completed. I'm not even sure Nivane has a forge right now. No forge for Nivane as of yet. Zealot snooping and pooping around, keeping an eye out for any additional expansions. And here we go. So, Reaver's getting dropped. They're firing some Scarabs. Unfortunately, they're going to these Zealots. One does go down, the second goes down. Reavers really didn't get a whole lot done there. These Zealots being a real pain in the butt, taking a ton of shots, getting in the face of the Dragoons, but I think that there's just enough Dragoons here from Mevius to hold this. But these Zealots, the Zealots are just doing so much. Yeah, so it is a hold, but pretty equal exchange there. Mevius actually going on the chase here. And he is defending his third. Which, to be completely honest, I didn't even notice went up. That must have went up somewhat recently. Does look good. It's going to be really close. If he target fires this down, it'll die. And he does get the Nexus just barely, too. This Dragoon, actually, I think pretty much securing that for Nivane. Really unfortunate there for Mevius, but you know what? It's not the biggest deal in the world, in the sense that Nivane doesn't have a third yet, right? It was really just a big deal because the resources lost, the investment put in, but otherwise, he's not terribly behind. Nivane getting his third now. Mevius will likely rebuild his in a second. And so with this kind of going down in that last engagement, I would say Nivane's just a little bit in the lead. But you know, the supply actually doesn't look that way. A couple more probes for Mevius. Does look like a little bit of a bigger army for Mevius as well. Mevius is sitting on 8 gateways, and we do have those upgrades up, right? So his Dragoons are now 1-1, still 0-0 with no forge for Nivane, and I think that is going to become a problem for Nivane unless he can start getting some serious damage done. Now, Nivane is researching Storm, going into the High Templar play. And we have a little bit of skirmish here. Now, Mevius' army kind of trickling in one at a time. Good spread by Nivane. A lot of these Dragoons are being kind of drawn around by this shuttle, which has really helped Mevius get his army established in a good formation. And right now, you can just see the effect of these upgrades. Shuttle goes down, so this Reaver's going to be stuck squirming its way all over the place. And this could be pretty serious, but Storm is almost done. I think the name of the game for Nivane right now is delay, delay, delay. You know, keep Mevius dancing around, keep him busy with like a Dragoon or two, and then just start storming it into oblivion. I think we're about to see that right now. If these don't get sniped, he does lose one before Storm is done. Storm is not done yet. He needs to keep this army busy, and on the flip side, Mevius needs to get rid of these High Templar. Now, there's only one here, so not going to be terribly drastic. What is going to happen is, you know, I think Nivane... Oh, man, this looks like just a lot of Dragoons. And right now, it really is coming down to just this upgrade disparity, making this engagement just go so well for Mevius. I think that might be it. Yep, Nivane throws it in. Great game. Great game by both players. Protoss, man. Protoss. All right, so that brings us into Game 3. We've got one victory for both these players. And the loser of this next game will be eliminated from the number 4 Brood War tournament. So let's take a trip to Polypoid. See how it goes. All right, Polypoid, Navane, bottom right. Mevius, bottom left. Wondering if we're going to see basically the same thing from these players. So far in the last two games, we've seen slight variations. We saw Navane open with an aggressive kind of zealot push in the first game. We saw Mevius react to that with his own, like double gateway before Cybernetics Core zealot production. And then we've seen a trend where Navane generally goes heavy in observer play, gets a lot of vision, and has pretty good map awareness on expansions and really doing a good job of containing Mevius. Mevius has been doing a lot of Reaver play, using those to great effect, and has also been really, really good at ensuring that the upgrades are flowing, which both games have demonstrated really large power spikes. And in that last game, really gave a dominant finish for Mevius. Navane also tends to not go Reaver and instead go High Templar as kind of his unit of choice against the clumps of Dragoons. So we'll just have to see. We will have to see if we're going to get more of the same there. And right now, it is too early to tell. Now, we do see Mevius scouting out earlier than Navane. We do see the double gateway opening again. Okay, so this is, so far, a repeat of Game 1. And Game 1 was on Dominator. Okay, so on Game 1, I kind of justified it as more of it's a 3-player map. And he'll have good scouting information and know exactly where Mevius is, so he can, like, dump those zealots in as soon as possible. So this map is a 4-player map. But Navane is getting a first attempt scout. So he's going to see the build. He's going to see that he is going to have a gateway advantage. And last time when Mevius got into Navane's base and saw this, it was a little bit earlier, right? It was on that Dominator map. It was on that 3-player map. It's much quicker to identify your opponent and see what they're doing and adjust accordingly. He still hasn't gotten in there and instead is going Cybernetics Core. That was also awesome that he almost like trapped that probe using the Cybernetics Core to get that zealot back there. You can't really see it, but they're running around behind the mini-map. So Mevius, I don't even think is going to be able to get up into the ramp and see this is a double gateway. And also, I don't think it's going to be wildly impactful. I mean, we'll see, but he's going to get some early zealot pressure. It is going to be a bit of a surprise. But maybe Mevius did see it as he's getting a shield battery up. And he's probably just going to clog this ramp with 2 zealots with the shield battery in proximity. Maybe bring a probe or 2. And he should be able to hold this just fine. I think. I don't know. If a zealot gets through like that, he's gonna have to play tag, run after him. And he's got 2 zealots chasing. 2 more zealots come in. This zealot did get rallied to the ramp, and we're starting to see the probes go down. Okay, so here we go. Zealot micro battle. Ooh, okay. So probes, mine drilling into this little section. They're probably going to turn around. They're all going to shoot at these zealots. And that does an enormous amount of damage, actually. If you can get, 10, 15 probes all just zapping one zealot at a time, you get pretty solid defenses that we just saw from Mevius. So Mevius did lose, or does have a 3 probe deficit right now. But I think he's sitting pretty. Sitting real good. 2 Dragoons popping out for Navane. Now, if Mevius gets over here, before Navane can really benefit from this double production, like his whole army was gone from that, then he might be able to get some damage done. Especially if he gets these zealots up in front. I think if he runs in with the Dragoon and it gets sniped, now it takes a lot of hits, so it's not going to get sniped right off the bat. But I'd like to see him kind of open with these. He's going to run up there. It's going to get hit at least, what, 2-3 times? Okay, it was just shields, good. And he's going to pull back. Yeah, once these other Dragoons pop up, and there's 4 of them, he's not going to win that fight. Still sitting at 1 gateway, by the way. The shield battery, I think, was definitely a good idea. It was a, hey, if I don't do this, I might die. So if you need it, you need it. But right now he is kind of falling behind on just the army production standpoint. And it's gonna scale up pretty big if he doesn't get another gateway down soon. Robo facility is coming up. And there's the second gateway. Robo facility for Nevane. Robo wigging out, as is tradition. And Nevane is banking some cash, so it looks like he's about to get an expansion. He is, and simultaneously he's going to be moving across the field with 6 Dragoons, which is the superior force here. Now, don't forget the Protoss shield battery is still here. So if he takes this fight and ends up having to run back up the ramp or clog the ramp with a couple Dragoons, he'll be okay, right? And we're kind of seeing that right now. Dragoon range did just finish for Mevius. Now, it's going to finish for Nevane too, so he's not going to have like an advantage in that aspect. But he may be able to get some pot shots up here on the top, get a couple extra hits. See, and we're seeing that right now, right? Like, he's probably going to pick off this Dragoon. Ooh! He gets away, and he does the nice Dragoon shuffle. Brings the weak ones to the rear, so very close pick there. But overall, nothing lost. However, Nevane is delaying this natural expansion. 3 gateways now for Mevius, so he now does have the gateway lead. But this expansion is going to start pumping out tons of probes and getting that economy really rolling for Nevane here in just a second. Now, we do have a Reaver coming out, which we've seen the past 2 games, and has been used to great effect. But there is a little bit of uncertainty, you know, when you start getting Reavers in the fight. Not all Scarabs hit equally, it feels like. Look at that shield battery. Everything just charges right back up. Okay. Cool. He's sending a couple Dragoons home, and you know, I think he's doing this because of the timing. I think he might be thinking, okay, last game I lost because a Reaver came in and freaking annihilated my mineral line. I think he's trying to ensure that doesn't happen again. 3 more gateways going down. And we do have a little bit of a breakout here from Mevius. Mevius is going to end up pushing this away. Couple Dragoons going down for Nevane. Ooh, solid miss there. Ooh, another miss. Mevius can't catch a break on this low to high ground shot. And the Reaver is on the way. Shuttle's also being produced, so by the time the Reaver, you know, spends a year to get like here, the shuttle will come and pick it up. And that's all going to be seen by Nevane, who, like we were talking before the game really kicked off, has been really effective with just making sure that he always has an observer out, always has an observer over the base. So if you play Nevane, be aware for observers. All right, here we go. Nevane's going to try to push this back. I think he's definitely got the numbers to do it. While this attack is going on, the attention is split for Mevius as well, getting his natural expansion up. And he needs to get that shuttle over here. This Reaver is going to be dead meat here soon. With the amount of Dragoons that are chilling here for Nevane. I don't know. I just feel like this is a little bit vulnerable. And it would be cool if he could pick that up and, you know, hit these mineral lines. Like, he's drawn the Dragoons out. He knows that they're out here. There is one here, but again, like, I don't think Nevane likes building forges. There's just no forge. And to be fair, neither does Mevius. Observatory going down. Going to get his own observers. And right now, the biggest issue is the fact that Nevane was able to get this second up as early as he did and just start pumping out probes. The probe count is really, I think, telling the story of the lead here. 40 probes to 25. And that's without probe damage. Nevane killed a couple early on with the Zealot attack. But this is just pure macroing out probes. This is going to be a bit for Mevius to catch up from, I think. He's definitely got to get in here with either a drop or something. And he is attempting right now. But it does get pushed away by the Dragoons, and it does look like there was a good reaction from Navane. You can see that number did drop down to 39, so I think maybe one probe died before the shuttle got sniped. So really not worth it. Kind of a bummer for Mevius that got shot down. And now Navane is just continuing on with his macro. He's at 101 supply to the 69. Nice of Mevius's. Mevius has got his second base up, but I think he needs to either get a third up and play defensively, or go for another way of damaging the economy or maybe getting some good picks on this army. Now, Navane is rushing up into the high ground here. There was a very good spread from Mevius. And it does look like, just eyeballing it, it does look like Navane's going to have enough to just push through this. And that's all the army that Mevius has. Like, he's producing, but he's only producing off 3 gateways. And yeah, and Mevius sees it. GG. Mevius is knocked out of Brood War Tournament number 4. Oh, fun fact, Mevius has also just been dunking on me every time I play him. So, definitely a good player. Well, better than me by a long shot. And great job in Navane. So he'll be advancing along the losers bracket, or the lower bracket, I think is the polite way of saying it, to the next rounds. And so what else do we got? I think my voice is holding up. It's late, but whatever. Also, who's here? Someone's watching. Like, there's one of you. Whoever it is. Okay. So the next round that we've got is Brood War number 4, winners bracket, round 2. Who is this? Okay, so this is Rice Hat versus... Oh, another mirror match? Goodness. Alright, so this is Rice Hat. We'll do another series. I think I got one series left in me. So this is the winners bracket, round 2. So both these players have already won at least one round. And they are facing off. Now, we just had a Protoss versus Protoss. And now we are going into a Terran versus Terran match. Red Terran in the bottom left here is Rice Hat. Genesis, that's a 3 o'clock. Should be a good time. Both these players have been performing really well in the Brood War series tournaments that we've been hosting here in StarCraft Underground. And also, if you happen to stumble upon the YouTube video, because no one's actually watching the stream, except for this one guy that won't reveal himself, unless it's you, Mevius, and you don't know what StarCraft Underground is, I highly recommend joining, right? Like, the Discord link is there. Everything's ran off the Discord. And it's grown really rapidly. We're over 100 members. There's, most people are active. It feels like we do StarCraft 2 and Brood War. And really what sets it apart is that it is there's always a tournament to sign up for. And every match that you play, you have a week to accomplish it, right? And so really the whole intent behind it is to allow, busy dads like me and people with like crazy work schedules, an opportunity to play longer tournaments over a longer period of time where they can schedule flexibly within a week and still get that competition, that they're looking for. Because I was trying to play in other leagues and tournaments, and everything was like in an afternoon on a Saturday. That's kind of rough. It's kind of tough to set aside 3 or 4 hours to just knock that out. So that's what this is about. It's open to everyone. All right, so both players slapping down their barracks, slapping down their refineries, slapping down their supply depots. Lots of slapping. Both players scouting the same third base up here at the 11 o'clock. And I think what we're probably going to expect to see, if I were to guess, like where this is going to differentiate, is how heavily each of these go into marine production early on. How many barracks, not barracks, but not refineries, how many factories each player gets before they expand. Whether it's just one, or they try to go 2, get the vulture lead. So a few opportunities for variation for both these players. Both players are going straight into factory, which is kind of to be expected. Both of them have one Marine, another Marine on the way for both players. Two Marines being very helpful in the sense that you can usually shoot down any SCV trying to come in and scout your base before they get in there. We may see a chance to demonstrate that here. Now this isn't on a ramp though, so this SCV might just run by. Whoops. Oh, great body block there by Genesis. Does knock out the SCV. And then we're going to see the SCV over here run into the pair of Marines by Rice Hat and run away. So we know Genesis for sure is going to be going heavy mech, which is pretty standard, but he's already started his barracks float. So the SCV has been unsuccessful so far on getting in and seeing what's going on. He's going to get in, and he does get in. He's going to get a full scout. He's basically going to see that Rice Hat's playing very standard, and has essentially the same build as him at this point in time, with the exception of this expansion. So Genesis has his expansion going down. I imagine Rice Hat is probably going to send his SCV up here to the natural to get his going. He does. There we go. Excellent. Machine shop started for Genesis. And we'll have to see if he continues with vulture production or if he goes into tank production. Gets a second factory as well. Generally what we'll see is the factory, the machine shop, get mines, a second machine shop on one of these other factories, get speed. But we'll have to see if it gets that far. We'll have to see how this engage goes right here. There's no bunker down. Ooh, the Marines being targeted first, which is the right way to do this. The Marines and their DPS can just clean up vultures. And wow, holy crap. Okay, so Rice Hat is just in the natural, just knocking down a bunch of SCVs. Great little early push here. He's likely going to knock down the SCVs constructing these factories as well. Oh man, this is so much damage. Now if Rice Hat continues to micro these vultures, they could just run circles around these SCVs and just do a ton of damage. Now this factory does get constructed. A vulture does come out. I think with a little bit of SCV support, it might be able to help. Okay, so it does go down 1 for 1. This factory gets finished. We are having speed upgraded first. I'm trying to remember if speed is the longer upgrade or if mines is. I don't remember. I'll need to double check. So 30 factories going down for Rice Hat as well. Rice Hat also getting an armory. Preparing for vehicle upgrades, the opportunity to get Goliaths out on the field. A couple SCVs coming up here to help assist in this fight. Ooh, that vulture did get dragged chasing this one for a while. He does switch fire to try to shoot this weakened one. Does he get this other one? He does with the support of the SCV. But that last vulture takes out the vulture from Genesis. So right now, I would say Rice Hat, pretty commanding lead. 30 SCVs to 18 for Genesis. Got 46 supply to 28. He is sitting very comfortably right now. His speed upgrade coming along. We've got mines being made for Genesis. But if these vulture, run-bys and attacks keep going as successful as they have been for Rice Hat, the mines aren't going to do anything. Number one, or +1 vehicle weapons being upgraded for Rice Hat. And both players just pumping out 3 vultures at a time. Biggest differentiator here is just the economy for Rice Hat at this time. Now Genesis has re-saturated this natural base. Behind 10 SCVs though. And this time he is starting a little bit of a wall. Something, just to disrupt these vulture run-bys. Something that he can plug up with the vultures that he has. This is going to be pretty good timing because we have a large vulture push coming in from Rice Hat. Now, I also see that Genesis is starting a tank. Now, if he can get a tank out and well positioned, he will shut down a lot of this vulture harass. It's hardly even harass at this point. This is just vulture invasion coming in from Rice Hat. Getting tons of kills here. The boys having to be pulled. This is going to, impact Genesis' economy even more. 3 vultures remaining here for Genesis. And all of those SCVs that were pulled dying. 20 SCV disparity. And these vultures are running in, but now we got a tank. Vultures, I feel like they just like scratch the paint on tanks. A couple vultures coming out as well for Genesis. And he's going to be able to move this up. And the tank should probably be able to push a lot of this back. I don't think Rice Hat has researched mines yet, which would be kind of their best bet and way to take out this tank that's relatively in the open, right? Oh, there's the mines. Okay, he's got mines. So this tank's not going anywhere for a little while. Oh man, Rice Hat, I feel, is in a very strong position. Keeps the pressure on with 2 tanks, though. The vultures go down super fast. Needs to get some of these mines down to close the distance and start blowing up into these tanks. That was a huge mine. Rice has done a really good job of just planting mines everywhere. Probably needs to pull these back, but likely just kind of abandoning these vultures to go back in macro. He's got a couple of tanks of his own at this point. He has siege mode being researched. And he is up to 5 factories. Now, also, if we look at... Let me find one of his units. Here's one. We do have +1 vehicle weapons as well. And Genesis is not sitting with any vehicle upgrades at this time. I feel like Genesis has been kind of in survival mode this entire game. I think he still only has 1 SCV on gas, which is probably fine with the amount that he's producing at the moment. Oh my gosh, those mines. They're everywhere. And you know what? I think these are Genesis's mines. I think he was a little surprised to see, oh, great mines by Genesis as well. Yeah, you definitely got to keep these vultures and tanks on A move to try to shoot these as they're inching forward. Maybe even get a comsat, when money allows. Okay, supply depot does go down. It doesn't supply block Genesis, but his supply is hurting a little bit here. Sitting at 47 of 52. And Rice Hat is expanding to his 3rd, taking this mineral location. Yeah, this is looking pretty bad for Genesis during this round. Siege mode is being upgraded for Genesis. Vehicle plating being upgraded for Rice Hat, and he is preparing with the science facility as well to continue the upgrades beyond 1-1. And also to just get maybe some science vessels. And it looks like Rice Hat running up here to get a 4th base. Just have the funds for it, and there it goes. So 4th base down for Rice Hat. Does have comsat capability. And Genesis doing everything he can to just stay stabilized. Oh, bird siege tanks. Okay, cool. So this turret is exposing some of the mines that are closer to the natural expansion. And these siege, now that siege mode has been researched, this is a pretty solid defense. Now there is a lot of units here for Rice Hat though, but he does need to get them moved in. I'm hearing shots. What am I hearing? Oh, Goliath is trying to track down this barracks. eBay is running out here to give some additional vision to Genesis's tanks. 4th base almost complete. Huge conga line of tanks. This might be the push that does Genesis in. I feel like he might just be able to A move into this. Ooh, unfortunately, he does give a tank away for free. Still has a tank advantage, though. Well, actually, this is a really good spread from Genesis. Comsat goes down, and he's going to just start one-shotting these tanks, I think. Good amount of vultures. This is going to be a tough hold, but I think this might just stalemate out here for a little bit. And I'm curious what the starport's doing. Okay, so the starport is actually making wraiths. Genesis dropping a bunch of starports, has 3 starports going down, triple wraith production. There's going to be a single wraith here, but that's going to take forever to kill anything. He might kill a couple SCVs, maybe. He'll likely use it for range. Like, he has the barracks over here, but he doesn't have much beyond scans for vision. He might just be using it for counter drop play as well. So many tanks. Yeah, I can't really think of what Genesis can do to come back from this. I think right now the game plan is, okay, stuck in this little corner, let's get a just metric F-ton of Wraiths, and start tearing away at these siege tanks that are containing me, inch forward the siege line, start breaking out with expansions, or take the Wraiths, start diving in for some SCV kills, but he's got to know that, you know, there's turrets. SCV has come up here now, too. Ooh, but it's not going to live very long. Oh, no! The tank no longer is firing at it. I think the eBay being pushed back is going to allow for this turret to be constructed here. And here we go. Is that 7 damage a pop? Gonna take a hot minute. Look at all these tanks. One SCV per Wraith, huh? Oh my goodness. Getting behind Genesis's base. He's going to try to make a dive for it, but these vultures are just getting shredded. I think this is going to be the GG. Like, there's really not much Genesis can do, and this is just inching forward. He has the vision. Here we go. The last flight of the Wraiths here. They're going to come in, but all these Goliaths are just going to shoot them down. Really unfortunate. Sometimes TVTs just go this way. You know, one player gets kind of the tank advantage, gets mines laid outside your base. And really what set this all up was that early Vulture run-bys, you know? Just setting the economy back as far as Rice Hat was able to. Really gave him the game. It just took a long time to finish. Cool, cool. So, winner's bracket. Rice Hat is up by 1. Let's go ahead and go into game 2. All right, game 2. Deja Vu. 4-player map. We have Genesis up here in the top left. Rice Hat over here in the top right. Now, we did actually have a switch of colors. I don't know why that happened. But Rice Hat is blue this time. Genesis is red. So I'll try to keep that straight, but I will likely screw it up many times. In last game, we really saw kind of the same thing from both players. And it really just came down to that early Vulture run-by that was so successful from Rice Hat. We'll have to see if either of these players try something a little bit different. I'm trying to think what that would be. I mean, there's really, it comes down to just like how fast you can get that early Vulture production up. unless they try to do some sort of cheese. But we're approaching kind of the supply where we would already see indications of it. Eric's going down towards the ramp for both players. Got the initial scout coming out from Genesis. Same for Rice Hat. Looks like we're going to have the good old-fashioned run into each other situation again. And they know where each other are. Now, last time we saw kind of a redirection. Not sure if Rice Hat saw it. Or if he's just okay with checking all the corners. Genesis is going to get in here. Ooh. Looks like he might have... Oh, no, there's not enough gas. I was going to say it looked like he almost delayed like that factory being produced. But now the factory is being built. Still waiting for Genesis to get the gas to build his. Building a supply depot down here, kind of starting off a wall. That's a little bit different from what we've seen so far. And that's probably in reaction to the Vulture play that we saw last game. Factory under construction for Genesis now, just a little bit behind Rice Hats. Rice Hat sending the barracks afloat. Has the two Marines. The SCV has already kind of come over, though, and has been eliminated. So, just some early defense against 1Z, 2Z Vultures that might try to come in. Third Marine being made for Genesis. And we've got Vulture production underway for Rice Hat. Okay, early expansion for both. Well, not really early expansion, but like just factory expand. I do think both players... I felt like they had two factories before they expanded last game. I might be completely misremembering, but... SCV goes down to Genesis's Vulture. Genesis's. That SCV arriving a little bit later as it had gone to... you know, all the different corners first. So, which is kind of nice because that kind of shows Rice Hat that, you know, the expansion is underway. Saw the one factory. He's seeing that it's a mirror build. Now, going up to 3 factories. For Genesis, the second one for Rice Hat. And an armory for Rice Hat. We saw Rice Hat get an armory last game as well. He ended up using it and having an upgrade advantage. Now, it was kind of an advantage that he was already in the lead, so it was a little bit of a win-more situation. But it just makes it that much harder to come back when the opponent in a mirror matchup is just out upgrading you. And so this is going to be... I'm curious to see if he's going to go for any type of early Goliaths to try to shut down some Vulture run-bys, or if he's going to just use them again for... the early upgrades, or just a combination of both. This looks very similar to what we saw last time from Genesis. I think Rice Hat will likely see a third factory for him here momentarily as well. Rice Hat opting to go into tanks right off the bat, so a little bit different, and this barracks is going to see that. So we'll see if we'll see a similar thing. Okay, so like I was just saying with the armory, right? So it does look like he is going into early Goliath play. And it looks like he's going to be building a little bit more of a robust, like tougher Terran mech force in this early to mid game, as opposed to kind of the mass Vulture on Vulture that we see a lot. And I forgot who we were casting or watching, but it was either yesterday's cast or some of the previous videos. This has performed pretty well in this league. The going into the early tank, Goliath. I don't think I've seen it lose. But there are definitely vulnerabilities to it. Like, for example, 3 factories, right? He can just be all over the map. Once he gets mines researched, he's going to be able to place those all over the place and maybe even get a contain out there on these Goliaths. Now, knowing that that's a threat, right? Rysat is building an academy, going to have his scans up and available. I didn't mean to kill his vision. There we go. And it looks like we're going to see an initial move out here. Now, this is timed based off those mines, right? So mines will be done by the time these vultures kind of get across the map. And, you know, it's interesting, the armory went down earlier for Rysat. And Rysat was primarily using it for Goliaths. But Genesis just finished his armory and is immediately going into +1 weapons. So he is not falling into the situation of being behind in upgrades this game. He's mining off this upper high ground here on Deja Vu. Now, something that we saw, you know, in the last game was these spots are just so powerful to hold and try to contain your opponent. And especially when Terran versus Terran, like you get a whole line of tanks up on this, you just can't go anywhere, right? You got to like drop out of it. And breaking through is a huge pain in the butt. So we're seeing kind of the early conditions being set for that and just setting a ton of mines on this avenue of approach. It's also going to give just a bunch of vision. It's really great. And I like that they're being split up too, so that you don't have one scan uncovering all of them. This is going to take like a lot of time to actually move through very carefully if you want to clear it. Okay, so we'll see if this actually ends up moving out. He's gonna get a taste of a mine here really quick. Ooh. But good, he was able to shoot it, and there's the scan. Okay, so he's going to see the vultures, he's going to see the mines, but it is going to slow him down. And the thing is, though, is these Goliaths, he's got to make sure that he's always attacking these mines, because if he gets a couple of these mines in good connections, Rysat's army is just going to get annihilated. Oh, he's going to get the early siege, but are they going to go down too early? These tanks on siege are just walking through this. So, yeah, the Goliaths are here. They're adding a lot of damage, but the tank count for Genesis really allowed him to have a pretty good engagement here. And he needs to keep that tank alive. If the tank goes down, these Goliaths are just going to absolutely shred these vultures. Yeah, so tank goes down. That's going to force Genesis back. Rysat realizing, you know, hey, there's mines everywhere. I don't have much army left. He's going to need to go back and regroup. He has expanded up to 4 factories, 5 here in just a minute. Genesis is still on 3. Both players do have Comsats, Academy, etc. +1 vehicle weapons almost done for Genesis. This is going to be a big deal. Alright, more Goliaths. Tank. A couple Goliaths of his own being added to Genesis's army. Genesis's is tough to say. I'm just going to say red player's army. Couple units down here. This might be just a rally point, but it's also kind of preventing like the initial scans from Rysat from catching it. And he's also, you know, pretty good flank protection. All right, and it begins. We start establishing the good old-fashioned TVT siege line. What do we got going on the bases? We have a third base being constructed for both players. Genesis's, the red players, third CC is up in the air. We have +1 weapons getting started here for Rysat, so he is kind of behind in the upgrade game, but Genesis isn't going beyond that right now. So there is an opportunity for Rysat to catch up before Genesis gets a science facility and starts going up to +2. Rysat is actually jumping Genesis on tech, getting that starport up. Also getting an engineering bay constructed so you can start getting turrets. Genesis getting his starport up as well, but it is going to be a little bit behind. Last game we did see Genesis try to break out of the last siege position with just a gajillion wraiths. I don't think we're going to see that this game. I don't think that's really the position we're in. He might make a few, but there's too many Goliaths out. I think this is going to be a game where we're going to see drop play. All right, so third base set up for both players. SCV transfer does look like it's going to be completed safely for Genesis. Rice Hat initiating his. Yeah. Safe and sound. Ready to mine. Two factories with machine shops for both players. So we got six factories here? And this is, again, like, so Rice Hat, we saw this last game as well. Keeping up on the upgrades pretty well. He's building the science facility, going to be able to get up to +2. These vultures running around, they are going to see this third base. I mean, they're going to die, but he might get a couple SCVs for his troubles. Good mine there on this tank. Tank ends up clearing out those vultures, and now he's going to shoot these mines away with a good scan. Tanks being made for both players at 2, 3 at a time. Wyatt's going to try to shoo away this this barracks. Now, I don't think Genesis has confirmed that Rice Hat has this third base yet. Probably aware. I mean, he probably has a hunch, but I don't think he's actually sent anything over here. So Rice Hat does know that Genesis has his third over here. And Genesis is doing a really good job of spreading out, mining up the field, getting siege tanks set. These vultures are going to try to jump up, but the siege tanks, there's just too many of them. They're going to have to stay back over here. That looks like a blue mine. It is. That is surprising. That's not being triggered. It must be just right there on the edge. Oh man, good times, good times. Still sitting at 6 factories for both players. Science facility is down for Rice Hat. We have dropships being constructed by Navane, and he is getting his second vehicle weapons upgrade. So bypassing Rice Hat on the upgrade front. And just pumping out units. Both players starting to climb up in supply. Another command center being constructed here for Rice Hat as he attempts to take a 4th. Now, there's 2 being constructed for Genesis. I don't know where they are, but both players trying to take up as much space on the map as possible. It really just becomes an absolute arms race in TVT. And we're kind of approaching that phase of the game where it becomes an absolute slogfest. So grab a drink, crack a cold one. And let's watch siege tanks run into each other for a little bit. And I'm curious to see if this eBay goes down. Nope. Floats away. Alright, so we do have another command center being flowed for Genesis. It's going to be a little bit earlier than Rice Hat's. Now, Rice Hat, I would say, like, right here is kind of an interesting point on this map in the sense that, what is moving so fast over here? Oh, there's a bunch of vultures. Okay, so I'll come back to the point here in a second. Genesis is now very much aware that this is here. He probably always knew. He probably scanned it a while back and I just didn't notice. So this is going to really clog up this area. And this is a really tough kind of corner and pathing issue, and you can't really stage a lot here to really get around and fight into. So I think this is probably going to stay like this for a hot minute. What I want to point out is over here, which is actually being scanned, this is like the end of the trench, right? This is like the end of the siege tank wall. And this is where both players are kind of like arm wrestling, right? And you see it right now, right? Perfect timing. So Rice Hat, he needs to cut this off and continue down into the... I like how I'm using my hand like below the screen. I'm like, yeah, do this. You know, and he needs to siege up and kind of wrap around this high ground in the Deja Vu area. Now, he's going to do that, but he's going to move forward a little bit first. And that's going to protect this base that he's establishing here. He's got plenty of tanks to keep this moving forward. Really anchoring on the middle. I don't think he was aware of this on the high ground, though. And that is going to be a painful, painful mistake. He's losing a lot of tanks here. And this just isn't enough. But, to be fair, when you're in these situations, Genesis might not have any idea what's behind it, right? Both players scanning like crazy all over the place. I feel like I'm hearing explosions, but I don't see where it's at. Anyway. So yeah, that's like the big thing right now, right? As the Terran players are expanding south on each of their respective sides of the map, this tank line just needs to keep expanding down. And right now, Genesis is kind of winning that fight. He's got this high ground up here. He's protecting the main ramp into this this natural location. And once he gets this natural location, that's going to enable him to come up and get this main, which he was already prepared for when we saw him build those two CCs at a time. So that was actually kind of a really cool move. Because of the way he leapfrogged into this natural, which allows him to defend this easily and into here. Now, something I want to bring up is I saw Genesis make dropships. I have not seen the dropships. Oh, there they are. Oh, that looks like foreshadowing right there. That's what we call it in the biz. But Rice Hat's got his own. Somehow I missed that he was building a bunch of dropships as well. To be expected, but let's see where they go. Let's follow these dropships around. All right, so it does look like he's going to try to loop up around and hit this. So I was talking about how this is a pain in the butt to fight through. Oh no, these siege tanks are unsieged. They'll still be able to contribute pretty heavily, but they could have done so much damage to this if they were already pre-sieged. That's a little unfortunate. Rice Hat's going to get a good amount of damage here. I think it is going to get cleaned up because these are going to siege now, and this is going to get pretty much wiped. But that was a good little maneuver right there. These dropships probably need to get back. I don't know if there's any... Okay, there's one Goliath here. So these are safe for the moment. They're providing some vision. Probably didn't go as well as Rice Hat wanted, but he's at least got vision and control of this. So he did, you know, what is that, 5, 6? 6 dropships worth of tanks and Goliaths to get this much space. God, I love TVT. Oh, but we got a counter drop. Here we go. And that's what all these tanks were chilling here for. Okay, so this was the staging ground for his own drop. And I wonder where he's going to head. Okay, so it looks like both players... Oh, okay, he's still trying to fill up. Oh my gosh. These are going to run away and lose the vision as these fly in. Wow, those are both really low. Okay, bunch of turrets here. This seems to be the hot spot to fight. That was not a successful drop. That was not a successful drop. I felt like Genesis was probably sitting and feeling pretty good after the drop from Rice Hat. But then, you know, retaliating with that kind of brings everything back to an even setting. Now, Genesis has basically constructed a completely additional main base down here. He's got 6 more factories. That brings his factory count to 6, 9, 13, 14, 15. That's insane. He's got 15 factories to 8. Oh no, but he's going to lose all of them. If these are full, these turrets doing work on these dropships. Only a couple vultures here. Oh my gosh, he drops and then an entire production cycle pops out. I thought this drop was going to be so powerful. And then we're running into the issue of good old Brood War drops where the dropships will like fly over. But if there's something underneath, they'll just like not drop their payload. Good mines. Good use of mines by these vultures. He's sitting here on top of this production. Great spot here for the siege tank. Really screwing up the pathing of these tanks that are just moving up the ramp. Now it gets cleaned up. Damage was not as much as I expected. Probably not as much as Rice had expected either. And again, another very, very close mine that wasn't set off. And I love that there's just no Goliaths in the middle. Dropships are just flying every which way. So he got full vision of that. Couple shots from these siege tanks. These Goliaths are going to go down. Does lose a tank, though. And is Rice Hat going to start making turrets, or is he just... Oh, he's probably going for this base. Yeah, so he dropped in there, saw this wild infrastructure that Genesis has already constructed, realizes he's a bit behind, and is opting to build on site. He also has a mine here, so he knows, like, he'll know when the next base is taken. Alright. Both players maxed out, banking tons of minerals and gas. This is where we're going to start seeing, I guess, really like two things, right? We're going to see the last bases being taken, and then we're going to start seeing armies just being thrown into one another. We've already kind of started that with the dropship play. Both of these players are going to use these dropships and just try to find that weak point and just exploit it with as much as they can. Right here, we've got a lot of tanks and Goliaths. And so, in a lot of like high-level play that I've watched, like we'll see this kind of situation where a couple vultures or whatever will see a large portion of the army, and then we'll see an opposing attack on like the other side of the map, right? So like if he took all this and just broke through here, but obviously that he doesn't have perfect information like we do. Huge drop. Looks like it's trying to skirt around the edge. I think that Rice Hat might end up losing these bases in really quick succession. There's nothing over here. Rice Hat's definitely kind of stronger up here on the north side. Oh my gosh, he was going battle cruisers. I have not looked at the production tab in way too long. Holy crap. Okay, so we're having kind of like a swirl. So we're having Genesis is going to drop some stuff. He's going to kill this base. He's probably going to kill this base. I don't know if he's going to commit to this or bring some of these back home to help fight this. But this is looking really dangerous for Genesis. And don't forget, Rice Hat is up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. There's a good amount of turrets up there. Like I said, I hadn't been looking at the... look at this production tab. 15 Goliaths being made. Holy crap. And battlecruisers just take so long to produce. If he can get these Goliaths in good positions, like if he's popping out 9 Goliaths up here, still got to deal with all these tanks though. Alright, let's go ahead and see how this goes. I would say it's looking pretty good for Rice Hat, but his supply is dropping pretty rapidly. And to explain that, we got to go across the map. Genesis is just running around. So he did just leave a contingent down here. He's moving up the right side of the base. He knocks out another one, which is one of the few mining bases Rice Hat has. Now Rice Hat is up here in the main base. He's going to be taking out some of this infrastructure, taking out the natural, but none of that's mining. And Genesis basically has an entire other main that is serving as a main. The only thing that this main base is really providing for Genesis is supply depots. So I think even if a lot of this goes down, if Genesis can keep his push and the pressure going on and denying this mining base, oh no, this SCV is going to get sniped. I think Genesis is actually still in the lead. Especially with the fact that we have like 2 battlecruisers being produced every, like minute and a half, 2 minutes or whatever it takes for a battlecruiser to get made. And he's pumping out like 15 Goliaths at a time. It's insane. Absolute insanity. Yeah, and this main's just taking a long time to take out. Engagements everywhere. Here come more drop ships. And he's lifting, yeah, he's just lifting the factories. It's so strange and feels really counterintuitive, but really, like, the supply depots are... I might be completely wrong on this, but I actually feel like knocking out this block of supply depots would be very, very powerful in shifting the favor towards Rice Hat. But we're going to have a huge drop come in. These Goliaths are going to be right on top of the tanks. The unsiege comes very quickly from Rice Hat, but there's just so much here. And I bet a lot of these aren't even unloaded. Maybe. Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's just a me problem. Whenever I use dropships, like one dropship will unload everything, and then everyone else is just like stuck in their ship. We've got some solid long-distance gas mining, and this base is being reconstructed. So Rice Hat needs to get this up, and needs to get this mining going, because Genesis is on 3 fully saturated mining bases. Now, his production was impacted pretty hard, but really it was just knocked down to what Rice Hat's production is. Natural's mined out here. We have siege tanks pushing. Dropship's about to drop on top of this again, but just forces the unsiege. Ooh, these Goliaths are going to be sniping all these dropships. I'm hoping... Oh, they're not even empty. Okay, so I'm not the only one that runs into dropships being stupid. All right, Genesis running into that a little bit. Looks like a lot of the... So a good amount of Goliaths just kind of all over the map for Genesis. Definitely plenty of Goliaths to really be a nuisance to these battle cruisers. But with the support of these siege tanks, they just go down so fast. I like that Genesis is just dropping on top of these siege tanks, though. Because, yeah, it just cleans them up. Yeah, these battle cruisers don't stand a chance. Nice little Yamato shot. Takes out a Goliath. Alright, turning into quite the scrappy long game here. If we could take stock of our positions, both players are on the same amount of SCVs, but it really just comes down to those mining bases. This has one mineral... Oh, spoke too soon. There's one mining base left for Rice Hat. So if Genesis kind of goes through that same like assault path that he went before and knocks this out, that's GG. And you can see it reflected in the banks as well. Like both players had pretty substantial banks, and Rice Hat's had to deplete his to kind of keep up with this battlecruiser production. We do have +3 weapons for both players as well. Okay, this time sending SCVs with a Vulture escort with the tank and Goliath down here. Unfortunately, these SCVs for Rice Hat are going to get eliminated. These Vultures, I don't think they're going to really get anything done unless they drop some really good mines. There's one mine, 2 Vultures go down. This should be enough to actually clear this. And it is. Hero Vulture there is going to protect this. But we're going to see a little bit of a move out here from Genesis as he tries to knock out these attempts to reestablish an economy. And you can just see it's a money game right now. Genesis even taking the base in the middle of the map. Nice recovery there from Rice Hat. He is going to be able to continue to protect this base. He's trying to get it up at all costs. There is a mine here from Genesis, which is being kind of annoying. This base is also up and running, so he is getting the mining, but you can see with the supplies that he's not able to keep up with the production. If you look at the production tab, the only thing that's being made for Rice Hat right now is that command center. Battle cruisers have entered the battlefield, but there's so many Goliaths that a couple of rounds where Genesis was pumping out like 15 Goliaths at a time. That is a pretty solid counter to things that are flying. And I think right now Genesis is just outproducing. Right now this engagement is looking in favor of Rice Hat, but he's about to potentially saturate this middle, which is really crazy. I mean, there's tanks just sitting right here. They're probably going to shoot up these Goliaths that are just rallied across the map. Genesis popping out a battle cruiser of his own, fighting fire with fire. But he's got a little bit of the money to do so. Huge SCV transition here. Battle cruiser pew-pewing at him. This battle cruiser is going to get so many kills. Okay, no, never mind. Goliaths and battle cruisers moving over to get rid of this. Ooh, nice Yamatos. Knocks out Genesis's only battle cruiser. And here comes the big drop, though. And this drop is chock full of Goliaths. So those battle cruisers that are here are not going to really be able to go over and help this base at all. This base is going to get knocked out. I think that's probably going to be about it. That just leaves this for Rice Hat. Rice Hat has to know at this point in time that he is just so far behind. Mining from the middle. I love it. Rice Hat trying to get another base down. Oh no. SCV dies. CC is still sitting there. And we have an engagement here. Still, so many Goliaths. Battlecruiser's trying to do whatever they can, but I think it might just survive barely. And that's it. Rice Hat has had enough. And we're only at 1-1 in this series. Holy cow. When I said I was going to do another series, I did not realize it was going to be a Terran versus Terran. I really should check these things before I start doing these streams and, and cast so late at night. All right, let's go ahead and check out if there's a game 3, and there is. Look at that. All right, and we are on Polypoid this time. Whew. All right, we've swapped colors again. So Genesis, top right Terran, he's in the blue. Rice Hat, top left Terran, he's in the red. So first game we saw kind of like mass vultures early on from both players. Rice Hat was able to get a lot of early damage, really set the tone for that game. Genesis wasn't able to keep up or come back from it. That was kind of the story of that match. That last match, we saw a difference in initial build where Rice Hat opted to go more of a tank-heavy, Goliath-heavy build early on. But then we just saw the map control and the economic expansion from Genesis really slowly take over the game over the course of that 30-minute match. And so I'm curious to see what we see here. If we're just going to see kind of repeat builds, or if we're going to see something new. And Polypoid, very standard 4-player map. There's nothing on like the ramp. We have a mineral base expansion as kind of like the easier third to get. And then some of these elevated expansions with the gas that also you can have from ramps. Now we do see a barracks going down in the middle of the map. Rice Hat getting cheeky. Okay, so we are seeing something a little bit different. Let's go ahead and kill this and see what the players see. Genesis doing a normal scout. He's not going to see this barracks. Now he is getting a barracks of his own, right? So the timings are still pretty standard. And Rice Hat is sending a second SCV because he still doesn't know where Genesis is. I don't know if he saw that one, but he's going to at least know that he's not seeing it with this SCV on the way down. So I think it's fair to say that Rice Hat is aware that Genesis is in the top right. And Genesis at this point in time is very aware that there is no barracks in Rice Hat's base. He's looking for it. He's like, where's your barracks, bro? And this is going to generate a little bit of an oh crap moment. I'm wondering if it's early enough. I mean, it's just one barracks, too. He's sending an SCV forward because he didn't see Genesis here. So he wants to get confirmation on where Genesis is, what he's doing. He's going to run into this marine up here. Factory going down for Genesis and Rice Hat. So, I mean, yeah, the barracks is in the middle of the field. But the builds are really the same outside of that. If anything, Rice Hat's just down some minerals from building it there as early as he did. Like, he's not going to have a superior marine count. So I'm not really sure if this is going to be successful. If there's effective SCV pulls, this marine's going to pop out. Wonder if he's going to try to build a bunker or something? Okay, so he's going to charge it with the SCV. The SCV is going to take the first shots. That's going to allow Rice Hat to get that initial kill. And I think that small little tactical maneuver might actually give him a little bit of an edge here. He's got another Marine. No additional Marines being built right now, but he's got 3 Marines in the base. No Marines being built by Genesis. So this is already doing pretty good economic damage as 5 SCVs have been pulled. One of them's probably going to go down here. Now, Genesis just absolutely needs to get this Vulture out as soon as possible. Rice Hat trying to micro these Marines as best he can. This one is going to die, I imagine, very quickly. Oh my gosh, okay. The SCVs there were just kind of dancing. Okay, so he's body blocking. He's getting these SCVs in the way of the Marines. And okay, we got the Vulture out, but a Vulture shows up for Rice Hat. Okay, so 2 Vultures are going to clean up these Marines very quickly. Now the 2 Vultures are going to start speeding across. We have kind of a 2v2 situation. I think things have actually kind of stabilized. The barracks just gets up. It's going to get early vision of Genesis's base. And so with that early excitement, I think we've kind of gone into just kind of a normal TVT at this point. Double engineering bay established for Rice Hat to wall this off as he goes for an expansion. He knows what he's behind on the factory count. He knows that he'll be outproduced on the Vulture front. Getting a 3rd factory now, but it is a little bit slower than Genesis's. The blue Terran player. We've got 6 Vultures here to the 2 over at Rice Hat, but wall is about complete. Wall is done. Wonderful SCV RNG. I'm not even sure if they can slip through right here. Maybe. Oh no. I think this might be too much. Now, I don't know if the Vultures can actually drive through that. Okay, it doesn't look like they can. Looks like there's maybe a quick attempt and they just kind of like did their little, I don't know how to drive dance. It's going to take a while for them to break through, but the thing is that they're just going to keep pouring in, right? 3 at a time at that. Just way too many Vultures here to repair through it. I think Genesis probably has this. I think just the early 3 factory Vulture, where Rice Hat pumped money into this expansion after the initial Marine push there. Okay, now this tank's going to get down here. It's going to start picking off these Vultures, but the Vulture's going to be able to break down this engineering bay very quickly. And if they can swarm this tank and get rid of it... Okay, he's opting to take out the SCVs. He's going to run in here. He's going to kill every SCV here at this natural. Because, yeah, the tank is doing tons of damage. It's killing Vultures. But there's just so many of them. I really like Genesis's decision here to just completely annihilate the economy. Because even behind this, he's still producing. He's producing his own tanks at this point as well. So 2 tanks here for Rice Hat, but only 8 SCVs. And that number just continues to drop. 7 SCVs, 6 SCVs, 5. Oh, man. And then here comes wave number 2, and they're able to slip in. The tank wasn't blocking completely. Rice Hat sees it, and he throws in the towel. So Genesis wins Winners Bracket Round 2, and we'll continue on the Winners Bracket. And that's the first 2 series that I'll be casting for Brood War number 2. Rice Hat is still in it. He goes down to the lower bracket. And who did we watch last time? We watched Mevius and... Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting who we just watched. Mevius and... Let me go ahead and check. Can't believe I can't remember. Great job to both of those players. Who was it? Yeah, because we did loser bracket number 1. Navane, of course. Yeah, and so I think the next match we might do might be Rice Hat versus Navane in the lower bracket. But anyway, that's going to be it for tonight. Thanks for watching.